Hi there, so this video is going to be titled, What is Your Quest? And it's going to entail telling a story of mine. This is one of the chapters in my book, Kundalini and the Art of Being. And I did another video telling the story like a year ago or so, and thought that I would tell it again from a little different angle, and also because I have a much better camera here. I recorded all these videos back in the summer, but it was with this kind of crappy camera. So I'm redoing a couple of them, just that some stories or thoughts that I particularly thought were relevant or interesting, just to give them a little better chance to get out there. So this is one of the chapters in my book, as I said, Kundalini and the Art of Being, one of my books. And it entails a very interesting man that I met in a interesting way, and I'll explain now what happened. I was living in Eugene, Oregon, and this was fall of 1993. I just moved up there from Northern California, and I was living in a cooperative household called the Campbell Club, which I renamed in the book something else, which was next to the University of Oregon campus, and so it was university students that lived there. I moved in there with the intention of going to school the next semester because I hadn't applied yet for that semester, which ended up never happening, and then they kicked me out. But I ended up living there for a full semester anyway. So I'd been living there for a few weeks, and there was this guy, this very tall, thin man that was a little bit older than myself. He was late 20s, as I found out later. Very dark, long hair, big, long beard, very, Jesus-looking, and just kind of very mysterious. And he would just kind of appear and then disappear every once in a while. I wasn't quite sure if he lived there or what the deal was, and hadn't talked to him yet. I was working or volunteering at this place that was a music venue, and you'd volunteer for half the show, and then you'd get to see the rest of the show free. And they played all kinds of just all kinds of music would come through, some fairly well-known musical acts, and then just whatever local punk music, anything. So I worked a show, and then I came back to the pardon me, some mosquitoes here. Came back to the Campbell Club cooperative house where I was living, parked in the back, and then came up through the back stairs, which involved walking through the kitchen. And so I come in to the kitchen area, and this guy, who I later found out his name was Jeffrey, was sitting on the couch in the kitchen all by himself. And I had to walk straight towards him to a door that was right next to the couch that he was sitting on, in order to go into the living room and then go up the stairs to my room. So I walk across the kitchen there, and this guy is staring at me as I'm walking across the kitchen, and he's just staring at me intently as I'm headed for the door. And just as I'm about to walk past him, I sort of nodded to him. I was feeling uneasy. Why is this guy staring at me in this strange way? And just as I'm about to walk past him, he says to me, "What is your quest?" Looking at me very intently still. And I just kind of stopped, and I was like, "Excuse me?" And he says, "What is your quest?" Like really looking deep into my eyes. And I've been going through a lot of pretty intense spiritual stuff. This wasn't, this was definitely strange and out of the ordinary, but I had a lot of inner questioning going on, and I think this kind of, even though this was weird and uncomfortable, at the same time I kind of welcomed it, and so I sat down next to him, and then we ended up having this conversation for the next, 20-30 minutes or something, and he ends up talking about the chakras, and we just had this spiritual conversation, and for quite a while, and he really kind of touched my heart, and he had a very benevolent presence. It turned out that he didn't even live there. He'd lived there previously when he was a student, and then he quit school, moved out and become homeless, and he was just homeless, but he would kind of pop in there every once in a while because he was kind of known by some people. Um, and so he ended up introducing me to the Right Use of Will series of books, which are very powerful books that I've talked about in some other videos of mine. He really propelled me along my path in a lot of ways, because I would end up running into him elsewhere around town, different places, and we'd have discussions and whatnot. So it was definitely one of those moments of, bringing you very, in a very intense way to the reality of the moment, and of just becoming more conscious of like what's going on in the world, what am I doing, why am I here, what is my quest, so just thought I'd put that out there, something to consider. What is your quest? What are you seeking in life? What are you really looking for? Something to think about. What do you really want to see happen in your life, and what matters? Definitely a important and pertinent question. So that is just one of the chapters in my book, Kundalini and the Art of Being. Feel free to look at the link down below the video here to my books on Amazon.com. I'm an author of a number of different books: Kundalini and the Art of Being, Kundalini and the Power of Awakening, The Mystery of Woman, and also travel books: Following My Thumb, Gabe's Guide to Budget Travel, A Budget Traveler's Dream, and the most hilarious thing that ever happened is a book of fiction short stories of mine. Very creative, quirky stories that I wrote when I was a creative writing student in Alaska. I was going to school up there for a couple years. So if you're looking for some reading material, feel free to check the link down below to Amazon.com. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.